Hello everyone, this is Vijaya Vanditha from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. I am studying in 4th SEM in Computer Science. Today I will be discussing a few topics about biology. Today's topic will discuss essentials of biodiversity. So this is basically a diagram representing the essentials of biodiversity. You can just go through the diagram. This is how the essential biodiversity variables vary from what impacts they make on the environment, what are the needs to preserve the biodiversity, what is biodiversity. These topics will be discussing in today's video. Let's start with today's video with the explanation of essentials of biodiversity. First, let's see what is biodiversity. So, in order to start into the topic, first let's discuss what exactly is biodiversity, what does it mean, and what is the impact of it on our human beings and non-living things. First, biodiversity. It is the variety of all living things and their interactions. Biodiversity changes over time as extinction occurs and new species evolve. So as new species are getting evolved in our ecosystem, the biodiversity changes according to them. Scientists often speak of three levels of diversities: species, genetic, and ecosystem diversity. So mainly there are three types of diversities which is seen in this system. The term biodiversity refers to the variety of life on Earth at all its levels, from genes to ecosystems, and can compass of evolutionary, ecological, cultural processes and the sustained life. Next, so everything on Earth has some of its importance and some features. So today let's discuss what is importance of biodiversity. Biodiversity is essential for the processes that supports all life on Earth. So every life on Earth is mainly dependent on biodiversity and it is based on that, including humans. Without a wide range of animals, plants and microorganisms, we cannot have a healthy ecosystem that we can rely on to provide us with air we breathe and food we eat and people, also some nature to itself. So all these things depends on biodiversity. It is the main key. A healthy biodiversity offers many natural services, such as like few services are given below. Let's see: ecosystem services, biological services, social benefits. So coming to ecosystem services are the services provided by the ecosystem. So they provide services such as protection of water resources, soil fermentation and protection. Next, coming to biological resources like food, medical resources and pharmaceutical drugs, all these comes under the biological resources. Next, let's move on to social benefits. Social benefits. So what are the social benefits due to biodiversity? They are such as research, education, monitoring, recreation and tourism. These are some of the benefits that come under social benefits. So biodiversity is providing us with a lot of benefits. Next, let's see what are the threats to biodiversity. So what are the main things affecting the threats to the biodiversity? There are main 5 threats to the biodiversity. They are habitat loss, pollution, overexploitation, invasive species and climate change. So first, coming to habitat loss. So habitat loss is generally like a species living in a particular area, and due to this biodiversity it loses its living and it needs to migrate to some other place. That is called as habitat loss. Habitat is a place where a species is residing for a long time. Over the past centuries, habitat loss has been the most common cause of extinction of freshwater fish in the United States. Many saltwater fish are also in decline due to habitat degradation. When habitats are damaged or lost, they are difficult and costly to restore. So when once an habitat is lost, it is really very difficult to bring them back. Next threat to the biodiversity is population. So due to the increase in population both in living things like humans and other animals, there is a lot of effect for the biodiversity. So coming to population, overpopulation significantly decreasing biodiversity in the area surrounding the population, as well as decreases global biodiversity. The overpopulation of humans requires our species to consume a greater percentage of the world's natural resources, taking away from the needs of our species. So as I have said, overpopulation is a main threat to biodiversity, which leads in extinction of few species due to the overpopulation of other species. Next threat is the pollution. Pollutants such as sulfur can lead to excess levels of acids in lakes and streams, and damages trees and forest soils, atmospheric nitrogen, and reduce the biodiversity of plants communities and farm fish and other aquatic lives. Ozone damages tree leaves and negatively affects sensitive visits in other protection. Next is the coming to the climate change. Due to the biodiversity, every climate change is being done. So few flowers which has to bloom in some other month is blooming in different month due to this biodiversity, which in turn helps in what do I say, increasing in global warming. Many impacts of climate change, including droughts, deficient storms, ocean acidification, sea level rise, and global warming, affect biodiversity. Loss of biodiversity can lead to land degradation and farming productivity. Next, let's discuss what is biodiversity conservation. How do we conserve biodiversity? Since we humans are exploiting the biodiversity, we need to help in turn to conserve our biodiversity. Biodiversity conservation is the protection and management of biodiversity to obtain resources for sustainable development. Biodiversity conservation has three main objectives: to preserve the biodiversities of species, sustainable utilization of species and ecosystem, to maintain life supporting system and essential ecological processes. So next, let's see the conservation methods. There are two types of conservation methods for biodiversity. First is the in situ conservation, second is the ex situ conservation. In situ conservation of biodiversity is the conservation of species within their natural habitat. In this method, the natural ecosystem is maintained and protected. In situ conservation has several advantages. Let's see the following few important advantages of in situ conservation. First one is it is a cost efficient and conservative method of conserving biodiversity. A large number of living organisms can also be conserved simultaneously. Since the organisms are natural ecosystems, they can evolve better to adjust for different environment conditions. So next, coming to ex situ conservation. Ex situ conservation of biodiversity involves the breeding and maintenance of endangered species in artificial ecosystems such as zoos, nurseries, botanical gardens, gene parks, etc. This is a less competitive for food, water, space, and among the organisms. Let's see the major advantages of ex situ conservation. The animals are provided with a long time and breeding activity. The species breed in capability can reintroduced in the wild. Genetic techniques can also be used for the preservation of endangered species. So we have come to the end of the video. Hope you have understood the video. Thanks for watching. Thank you.